I
All
mean,
right.
you and I had differing picks on this one, and
Well, so
as
I like
usual, I was correct.
yeah, but you got lucky that one. So
I
no,
No, I
I
don't think I
do
did.
I do
And
think
I said my reasons on the podcast for why I was picking them. I
I
said, all right, you go ahead and say your spiel, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong.
well no, I do think the Jags are the better team and the better team won. Um, but Trevor Lawrence, so part of the reason was Trevor Lawrence playing through a knee injury, right? And so he was wearing a knee brace. We were unsure if he was even going to play or not. And then comes out that he's going to start, but will he be limited? Will he look the same? Um, but the Jags are the better team, and I keep waiting for the Saints to get going, right? The Saints are my pick, or were my pick to win the NFC South. I expect a lot from this offense. I think it's a very talented offense. And I was complaining about that last night. Like you got Alvin Kamara, you got Taysom Hill, you got Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, you got weapons. Derek Carr should be better than he's been too. And I don't understand why the Saints are struggling so much on that side of the ball. But what was your take going into the game?
Well, I mean, to touch on what you just said before I touch on my thoughts on the game is Kamara actually went off in the game a bit more. It was nice to see him, putting up some numbers. Olave couldn't catch anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what was going on there, but I mean, his hands were buttery. Stuff was just slipping through his fingers. I mean, I would be pissed at myself if I were him, and I'm sure he got some shit in the locker room for that. Because, like, bro, just grab the ball. It's in your hands. What is happening?
Well,
Um,
and it's
but
not just that, it's also like a lack of effort. I'm friends with a Saints analyst, Chris Rosvoglu, and he was talking about how last week or 2 weeks ago, he's like, call me out if you want, but I've seen a lack of effort from Chris Olave. And you saw Derek Carr yelling and pissed off at Chris Olave in that game last night.
yeah, I mean, good. He should
Yeah,
be. It
yeah,
it was very lackluster. And the reason I picked the Jags, the Saints were in a slump before the game. They had lost three out of the last four games. Now it's four out of their last five. I mean, Jacksonville is on a three-game winning streak. They have found their stride. They're clicking. I think
yeah.
I would have kept Jacksonville as my pick, even if Trevor Lawrence hadn't started, just
Ugh.
because the Saints are just so discombobulated. Like, I don't know what's going on. They have talent on the team. I'm not going to say the team is talented because they're not clicking. They're not using it together. They're not a team right now. Oh, Clay Matthews. Sorry. I miss him and his hair so much. Um, but I just don't know what they're doing. Like saying that they have a talented team and that there is talent on the team, I think are different things. And they're just not utilizing that talent. I mean, New Orleans does have a much better like record in their matchups. I think they're 5 of 7 when they play each other. They've won the last four overall, their last three games at home. So, I mean, technically on paper, New Orleans have the better historical record, but this season, I don't know what New Orleans is doing.
Yeah. I mean, another factor in it in New Orleans, right? So
Hmm.
I bank on the home field advantage and Derek Carr to play better
Yeah.
and all that. But yeah, to your point, it's not clicking.
Hmm.
The
And
Jags are
Jacksonville
the
is undefeated on the road this season. They're 3-0 on the road.
so and two. All right, real quick. If you said that CJ Beathard was going to start and you were going to still pick the Jags, I'm taking the Saints all day. And I think I would have had a W because the Saints actually tied this game
Yeah.
and had a chance to send it to overtime,
They
even with
did.
Trevor
I mean,
Lawrence.
the Jags definitely started slacking off there towards the end.
Yeah,
And the Saints looked good for about 15 minutes of play time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I will agree with you there, but I'm just saying like I might have just kept the Jags pick just for because of how sloppy they've looked. The Saints have looked so
No,
far.
yeah, and the Jags are hitting their stride. I agree with you
Four
there.
straight.
Yeah, they're balling. Jags jump out to a 24-9 lead. Derek Carr threw that pick six. Like the Saints kept it a one-score game. They were hanging in there, and then that pick six, and it looked like the Jags are just going to run away with it.
Mhm. But I mean,
But
look at
then,
the middle of that game.
yeah,
It's like the Saints didn't want to score. They had 3 back-to-back possessions with only one play that
Yeah,
wasn't their ball, and they got 3 points total. I mean, at that point, you just deserve to lose. How do you not capitalize on any of those?
yeah, yeah. The Jags had like back-to-back fumbles.
Mm-hmm.
The muff punt, and then Christian Kirk had a fumble. We did see a little bit vintage Michael Thomas with that touchdown catch. He had a good game.
Yeah.
Uh, Chris Olave needs to take some pointers from Michael Thomas, who is a pro,
Yeah.
unlike what Chris Olave has been showing.
Yeah, I don't Olave is one of those players who just like throws temper tantrums, I think, and that's not
Yeah.
great. But yeah, so the Saints had that missed field goal, and then Trevor Lawrence, I mean, they get the ball back. He has one pass, fumbles the ball after
Hmm.
a 20-yard run. So immediately get the ball back. They 3 and out.
Yeah, 3-0.
And
Punt,
then oh God, it was just so frustrating. And then
and like,
the muffed punt there, they,
hmm
immediately muff the catch, and then they have the ball back, and then they get a field goal. Like that's so much time, consecutive time of possession, and 3 points. Like, no. I hope you
yeah,
lose by 40 at this point because that's just embarrassing.
so many breaks going your way. By the way, I love that how that punt was, that fumble was forced using the own blocker to create the fumble. I love
Oh,
that.
he's like, excuse me, I will just throw you here. Thanks.
Reggie White. Remember when Reggie White did that? Sacked the
Yep.
quarterback with Chris Carter.
Yep.
So cool.
I want to know how their conversation went about that afterwards, like in the locker room. Like, yo, man, did you really just seriously? Like, well, it worked. So,
I'll be like, well, I'm a wide receiver, and you got me blocking Reggie White. Like, come
like, what
on
the
now.
fuck did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So the Jags deserve to win that one. The Saints need to sort something out because their record is looking a little sus at 3-4. They gotta sort something out. I mean, they started the
absolutely.
season well, and that's what we expected from them, and then they have completely dropped off the deep end.
So, and my thoughts on that, they are 3-4. They're struggling right now, but they have time to turn it around. And I don't see anyone running away with that division. I know Tampa Bay is leading it right now, but the way Tampa Bay looked against Detroit, I'm not sold on Tampa Bay running away with it. And so if the Saints can get this figured out, I still think they can win 9 or 10 games. They just need to get it going soon, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't keep sliding like this. Like, what is their record moving forward?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, but you
I'm
gotta.
looking up their schedule right now. All right, so they're going to Indianapolis, and then the Bears are coming to town, and then they're going to Minnesota. So
Winnable games.
yeah, of those 3 games, I mean, they could pull off wins if they play like they did in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah. So, here's something that we didn't see coming. Trevor Lawrence, with a knee injury, wearing a knee brace, leads
Mhm.
the team in rushing.
I mean, I had talked about how it was going to be tough to get their rushing yard, I mean, their running backs going against that New Orleans defense.
Uh
And I mean, I didn't think the knee brace kid, Tiny Tim over here would be the one to do it, but
huh.
good for him. I hope he's not gonna hurt himself more though. Like
I'm
it's one thing
I
to play injured, it's another
Yeah,
thing to aggravate your injury
but he
by
did
being
it
the
smart.
hero.
He didn't take like he did run the ball, but he didn't take any nasty hits. He got out of bounds. He took what
Yeah.
the defense gave him. And I'm gonna double down on how much I like Trevor Lawrence. Like
Yeah.
this dude is gonna be a star in this league. Like think about how good he is when he's fully healthy. If he can do that on an injured knee, and he's athletic as hell, he's got all the arm talent in the world. Like I see at least like he's got Super Bowl MVP in his future, in my opinion, and league MVP. Like I honestly believe that. I think he can be a top three quarterback in this league when he finally hits his ceiling.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, look at the other quarterbacks. We've seen them have good seasons and bad seasons. He's very reliable.
Yeah, about Travis Etienne? He's playing pretty well this season.
He is, yeah. He was producing really well in the game.
Hmm.
I was pulling for him for sure. He looked good. My numbers.
So let's go to picks for this upcoming week. Week 7, 2023 season. Sunday, the 3-1 or no, the 3-3 Raiders at the 1-5 Bears. Both starting quarterbacks are out due to injury. No Jimmy Garoppolo, no Justin Fields. So this is going to be the Brian Hoyer versus undrafted rookie Tyler Bagent making his first career start. Um, how do you see this one going?
I mean, I've got the Raiders in this one. Good for Bajent. You almost killed me this morning when you read that his school was the Colorado School of Mimes instead of Mines. And that would, can you imagine? Like, oh, undrafted quarterback, didn't have any scholarship offers out of high school. He went to the College of Mimes. Like, what the fuck?
That'd be
I was
awesome.
dying out of that. But as much as I want to pull for the, the good story there, I think the Raiders are gonna pull this one off. Um, it's just I think they're outmatched.
Yeah, we saw what Max Crosby did to Mac Jones last week. So I
Yeah.
don't think that Tyson Bagent is going to, and the Bears' offensive line has got holes all over it.
Hmm.
Um, so I think it's going to be a long day. Now, as a Bears fan, I love Justin Fields. I don't want to move on from him. I don't want to trade him. I want to bring it back. Guess what? With these new Jim Harbaugh allegations coming out, I think he's leaving Michigan. I really do. I think this is his last year. Eberflus is getting fired. At least he should be. This might work out perfectly for my Bears here.
Okay, so you guys have wanted Harbaugh for a while. So what I think happened is you guys, the Chicago Bears, are the ones bringing, just leaving a trail to make Harbaugh look bad. I think he's
Yeah,
being framed to get him out of college football, so the Bears can have him. That's my theory. It's a little
whatever it takes.
suspicious.
Yeah,
It was
but
you, wasn't it? Just making up scouting claims.
but I don't know. Oh, so yeah, and so give Justin Fields another shot with a proven quarterback developer in Jim Harbaugh. That's my take there. So,
Okay.
but all that being said, I'm rooting for the kid. I want Tyson Bagent to do well. I'm gonna root for him on Sunday, but I can't pick the Bears to win. I can't pick an undrafted rookie out of Shepherd to win his first start.
Hmm.
He he showed signs last week when he came in, but he also had a terrible fumble and a duck interception. Like I gotta see it before I'm gonna pick it. So give me the
Yeah.
Raiders to get that win.
And I mean, the Bears have given up so many sacks. I think he's gonna get rocked at
Yeah,
some point in this game. I mean, they've given up 25 sacks this season, which is the third most in the NFL. And I don't think this kid is ready to be rocked like that and then stand up and keep playing. Um,
yeah,
and then
and
I
our
do think,
defense is so bad.
yeah, I was gonna say I do think with that defense, like Vegas's rushing hasn't been that great, but they just need to be like mediocre to pull off the win
Yeah,
here. I
yeah.
mean, you get Josh Jacobs going, then you're fine. I mean, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, I just think Chicago is severely outmatched with the Raiders offense versus their defense.
Hmm. I think it could be an entertaining game, but it's going to be sloppy in my opinion.
I was
And
gonna
I
say
think
it's gonna be one of those funny shit show games.
yeah, and I think the Raiders win. By probably by 6 to 9 points.
Okay, I was thinking 12 to 13, but yeah, yeah, in that range for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it looks like Deshaun Watson is going to be good to go as the 3-2 Browns go to Indy to take on the 3-3 Colts. If Gardner Minshew is going to look that bad last week against
Hmm.
Jacksonville, what's he going to do against this nasty Browns defense?
Oh, I mean, I have the Browns winning this one, whether it's PJ Walker or Deshaun Watson. Like either way, it's gonna be the Browns. I wrote in all caps, it doesn't matter who starts.
Nice. I like it. That's a good take. I agree 100%. Browns are going to win that. Any chance Gardner Minshew bounces back and beats the Browns? They're in Indy. Jonathan Taylor or Zach Moss goes off. I doubt it. I just trust this Browns defense.
I mean, I think it's going to be all run game, and I don't think there's going to be much of it. I just that
Yeah.
Brown secondary is so hot. Their rush D is so good too. Yeah, I can't see the Colts having a shot of this one.
And then the Colts, one of their best run stoppers just got suspended for PEDs, Grover Stewart.
Yep.
So that doesn't help.
No,
Kareem
it does
Hunt's got
not.
it. Yeah.
Doesn't help with the morale either.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on. This season has already been bad enough. All right, cool.
So let's see if the Browns can get to 4-2 with a big road win.
Yeah, I see that happening. I mean, they've allowed the third fewest yards this season, or I mean, or it's just gonna be bad. Um,
14th yards since 1970. That's how
oh,
dominant they are.
oh yeah, I mean total yardage. Is it? I think it's passing yards the third fewest.
Okay.
There's a specific stat where they're like, yeah, but 1970 since the merger, like for sure that defense is elite, and no one was even really looking for them to be that good coming into the season. I think
Hmm.
people were surprised by that.
Well, and you look at the Vikings struggling, right? And
Hmm.
the Browns took Zadarius Smith and Dalvin Tomlinson and put them on the same line with Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I mean Zadarius Smith is great. He was great in Green Bay, great in Minnesota. I think they made some great offseason moves. I know we talked a
Mhm.
lot about whose team had the best draft and draft picks we liked, but as far as like free agency over the past couple of years, the Browns are making some good decisions, some good trades, picking up some great players, and just they've been very quietly putting together an insanely good defense.
Yeah. And Amari Cooper's been balling, and I think that's a big mistake for the Cowboys when they got rid of Amari Cooper. Like Amari Cooper and CD Lamb was such a good 1-2 punch. The
Hmm.
Cowboys are kind of struggling since Amari Cooper left, and he's been balling in Cleveland.
Good. That's what you get for not, being grateful for what you have.
Yeah. Um, what do you think about Bills Patriots in Foxborough? What if Mac Jones torches the Bills and gets a win?
I if I was gonna pick two teams where it could go either way with a team that has, a 4-2 record and a 1-5 record. I mean, coming
Hmm.
into New England, I could see this being an upset, but I gotta pick the Bills here just because the Pats have been so bad the past few weeks.
Yeah, yeah,
I can't. I mean, the last 3 weeks combined, it's been what, 20 points total? Like yeah. And
abysmal.
And the Bills are tied for second with takeaways, and I just don't think Mac is accurate enough. I think the Bills are going to be snagging the ball. Um, uh, yeah, we got to pull for the Bills here because if it's an upset, I will be surprised. It would be entertaining, but I mean, Belichick was saying that ball security is, it's the most important thing. Okay, so what's been the most important thing for your 5 losses this season then?
Yeah,
Like, what have
and
you been focused on until now? Now it's important in week 7? Okay.
yeah, and I just, it wouldn't. I mean, it would surprise me just because of how bad the Patriots have looked so far this year. And I
Yeah.
think the Bills are are still feeling that internal like pressure that they need to get going. They need to continue to because they've looked bad 2 weeks in a row.
Hmm.
Despite beating the Giants, they almost lost that game.
Yeah. Like a win
So
is a win, but that was not a triumphant win by any means.
yeah. So I think they're gonna come out and play some good football. And the Patriots have to prove it to me. I'm a guy.
Josh Allen, historically, he whoops on the Patriots. His 5 career road starts at New England. He's thrown 12 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, 83 total QBR. I mean, he's pretty good when he goes on the road against them. So I can't pick against him. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna say the Bills by 2 scores here for sure.
yeah. I think the Bills get it done. I don't know what the score is going to be. It might be closer. It could be another sloppy game like the Bills Giants. But at the end of the day, give me the Bills.
Yeah. I wish we had like more to discuss about that. Like, oh, but the Patriot, like, no, I, I can't say much to support them because I just don't have any faith in them in this game. I mean, Belichick, historically, you and I would go back and forth and like, no, but he's, New England, they always find a way. This year, they are not finding a way.
Yeah, I know. Any other year I would, but you know, you lose by 34 and then 35 back-to-back weeks and get shut. I mean, look how bad the Saints looked this week, and they lost 34-0 to the Saints.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's been a rough stretch for the Pats.
Yeah.
So, speaking about teams from New York area that are 1-5, Commanders at Giants. We've got the 3-3 Commanders coming into town against the 1-5 Giants. I mean, do we think this is going to be an upset, or are we just looking at the records and saying, well, obviously?
No, I don't think this is an obviously at all. I don't trust the Commanders. I don't trust the Giants either. This is an ugly game, much like the Raiders and Bears. Like, this game can go either way. The Giants almost beat the Bills with Tyrod Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones might play. Honestly, give me the Giants here. I don't
Shit, see,
trust the
I was going to pick the Giants. Okay, see,
Commanders.
well, because I have had some issues with the Commanders this season. I have picked almost every single one of their games wrong. Like I have
Mhm.
their record being about 3-3, but like most of my picks have been the wrong game. So I don't know what to do with them. Obviously, I can't pick them for shit this season. But last year, the Giants' only division win, well, and a tie, were against the Commanders.
Yeah,
So they had 1.5 wins against their division. They were, both against Washington. And then over the past 5 seasons, the Giants are 9-22-1 against the NFC East, right? 6 of those 9 wins are Washington.
yeah,
So, I mean, the Giants know how to beat Washington. Obviously, it's not the same team they've had in previous seasons, but for some reason they're just lucky there, I guess. I don't know what that magic is there. And like those division games tend to be weird anyway. Um,
exactly.
but the Giants are kind of in a slump. I mean, their longest streak since 1976 without an offensive touchdown.
Yeah. No,
That's tough.
well, so Saquon Barkley's back. That's the good news.
Yes.
And Daniel Jones might play. If Daniel Jones plays, I'm picking the Giants all the way. But, you know, Tyrod Taylor is capable of getting the win too. And yeah, the Giants are in a slump, but what better way to get out of that slump than to play the Commanders, right?
Exactly. It's funny that we both picked them. Um,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that we should put some money on this one, but I guess we agree on it. So never mind. Yeah.
Well, we've seen a lot of football, so Bucks need to bounce back after a bad showing at home against the Lions. Do we think the Bucks are bad, or do we think that they played a bad game? I tend to think they played a bad game. I think the Bucks are good enough to get this win. I don't trust Desmond Ritter or the Falcons right now. Give me the Bucks at home.
Same. I mean, they both lost last week, but I think if one of them is gonna bounce back, it's gonna be the Buccaneers. I mean,
Yeah.
Ritter threw 3 picks last week. The Bucks failed to force a turnover or score an offensive touchdown for the first time this season. The winner of this game pulls ahead. I think that division slot at the top is going to be more of a driving factor for the Buccaneers. I think they've
Mm-hmm.
got better coaching. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Baker Mayfield, but I think he can keep his cool better than Desmond Ritter can in this situation. So I just trust him to, keep his head in the game. I think it's going to be one of those really scrappy, hard fought situations. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be a scrappy, fun game. We've already picked our sloppy game of the week, but I think this one's going to be pretty scrappy. I can see some tempers flaring.
Yeah, I agree. Divisional game, division lead on the line. And I think it comes down, I mean, I think it comes down, every Falcons game seems to come down to the wire, right? And I think this one does too. It might be a clutch Baker Mayfield drive for a game-winning field goal type of game. Uh, so yeah, I think Bucks find a way to win in a hard-fought game. We agree on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we gotta stop agreeing here. I do think that we can agree on the Falcons safety, Jesse Bates the third.
Uh-huh.
He has been great for that defense.
Yes.
He's had 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. I'm intrigued to see how he plays against the Buccaneers here. Um, I know that their passing game is better than their ground game. So in order for the Falcons to stop that aerial game against them, they've got to be focused. But I think there's some key players there that might make a difference. But him especially, Jesse Bates, I'm stoked to watch his matchups on this one.
Matt Flynn, why are you throwing picks? Come
I
on
know.
now.
See, this is why I'm getting distracted.
Did you see
Like I
that
know how
prime?
this game ends, okay? But God, I haven't rewatched the whole game since, 10 years ago.
Yeah. Did you see
It's
that prime Cam Newton highlight?
ugh,
That
God,
was,
back in the
that was
day.
awesome. Yeah, I
He was
missed.
on those, was it Oikos commercials, the yogurt?
No, it was well, yeah, that was the era, but he threw a 70-yard screen pass to D'Angelo Williams.
Oh no, no, no. I'm just saying back in the day when he was on those
Yeah,
commercials,
Orcos,
back
yep.
at back in his prime.
Yeah. Um,
I just remember those commercials with him and that little kid who said he was gonna steal his starting spot.
yeah, someone said I forget who they said that was. I remember later on they said like it was some quarterback, but I forget who. I think they said it was Mac Jones in New England.
I mean, that's obviously not him, but that's funny. I could see
Yeah.
that. I love how they zoom into Matt Flynn just screaming the F word as he unhooks his helmet. Like you can see it. They're just zoomed on his face. There's no other word he could be saying there. Good old NFL.
Yeah,
It's
Cowboys
funny how
actually
rewatching games, even though you know the outcome, you still get just as pissed off watching your team do stupid shit. Like
I
fucking
get into
stupid PIs and shit.
rewatches.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it. Sit the
For
fuck
some
down.
reason, when I watch rewatches, I find myself rooting for the team that loses, and I'm like, I know they're gonna lose, but I'm like, come on, you can do
You can do it, guys.
it. So,
Anything is possible if you just believe.
so we've agreed on every pick so far this week. That's crazy. So
I
we
mean,
gotta
I
stop that,
I,
huh?
I know we disagree on this one.
Yes. Let me go ahead and put a statement on this one. My guarantee of the week: the Detroit Lions go to Baltimore. All this Lions Super Bowl talk can cease, as the Ravens are going to beat the Lions in Baltimore and get to 5-2. This is my guarantee of the week. No David Montgomery for the Lions is a big missing piece. They do get Jahmyr Gibbs back, but he's not David Montgomery. Give me the Ravens to beat the Lions in Baltimore.
So I was very on the fence about this one until you said this was your guarantee of the week. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll take Detroit then. Detroit has served me well this year. I have picked them to lose one game. I picked the wrong game. So technically I've been wrong twice about Detroit. But their record overall, I am correct on. They are 5-1, and I have picked them to win 5 times. So we're gonna keep
Nice.
rolling with my Detroit picks. I'm doing pretty well with them. We've got a nice little bomb this season.
Well,
Um,
you know it's the Lions, right? That's gonna end eventually here. They're not gonna go 15-1 or 16-1.
Oh, I haven't picked them to win every game. I'm just saying their games I tend to my record for them has
When
been what
picking
their
them?
record is.
Okay.
I just need to say all this Lions Super Bowl talk, who the fuck is talking? I've heard zero actual Lions fans say that. I don't know if it's the people you follow on Twitter, but no
It's gonna
Lions fan that I know, and I'm from Michigan also, has said a damn word about the Super Bowl because they know that God hates Detroit and they know that they're going to flush it down the drain as soon as it starts getting serious.
So let me bring up some terrible effing takes that I heard this week.
Perfect.
Um,
But
pro,
tell us who
fo-
you heard them from, because I'm
Pro
curious.
Football Talk, of all places, usually a solid. I listen to them every week. They're
Yeah,
usually
pretty
solid.
objective.
Yes, they're my guys. But Chris Sims is smoking the best weed in the States, apparently, because for 2 weeks in a row now, he said the Lions are a Super Bowl team. Which, get the hell out of here, Chris Sims. Watch more football. And then somehow a worse take came from Mike Florio, who
Mm.
compared these 23 Lions to, of all teams, the 1998 Vikings, who went 15-1 with Randall Cunningham, Randy Moss, and Chris Carter. Are you fucking with me right now? That's one of the best Vikings teams ever. The Lions are not the 98 Vikings. Get the hell out of here. And
Yeah, I have
then,
no words for that. Like, I can't even think of a response other than that must be some good kush.
yeah, and then someone on Barstool. So one of the guys, not Pat McAfee or AJ Hogg, none of the former players, but someone on Barstool is like, the Lions, I'm gonna say it now, they're gonna win the Super Bowl. And I just had to laugh. Like, they're 5-1. It's a great start, but let's stop with the Super Bowl talk. Let's win a playoff game before we talk about that.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that, like, yeah, maybe they could, but it's
Yeah.
1 week at a time, and then it's going to be one postseason win at a time because
Yeah.
we do not get ahead of ourselves when we have not won a playoff game
Since
in,
'92.
yeah, I was going to say almost 30, yeah, 30 years.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So, because of all the, and I agree with you, it's not Lions fans. It's for some reason national media is smoking really good weed, but like, eventually, I think they're kind of speaking it into existence. The Lions are going to come back down to earth, whether by their own doing or the national media's doing. You know?
I think the media is just going to be ignored. I think
Hmm.
the Lions season is going to be unaffected by that. I mean, they're in the trenches, they're staying focused. I haven't seen any Lions players running their mouths. I haven't seen them, after interviews acting super cocky, and we've seen teams do that, specifically the
Ooh,
Cowboys
I
in
saw
previous years.
One Lions player was running his mouth this week.
Who? What did I
CJ
miss?
Gardner Johnson, who
Oh,
ironically has been hurt.
I was gonna say he doesn't get to talk. He hasn't been on the field.
But so let me see. Do they even play the Niners this year? They don't even play the Niners. But he was calling out Debo Samuel saying, "Don't be friendly to me when you see me. You can't beat me." He's like, "I can guard you." He's like, "I'm gonna shut you down." He's like, "You're a running back."
Hmm. Well,
Shouldn't
maybe
be
they'll get
saying
to meet
that.
up in the postseason.
Yeah, and if they do, guess who I'm picking? That's not even
Not the
close.
Lions. Yeah.
But anyways, my
Yeah, I
Lions
mean,
hate is coming out, so
I hear that. Tone it down.
yeah.
It's funny for you as a Bears fan, like you just hate the rest of the NFC North because you guys
Yeah.
have been beat up so much. Like as a Packers fan, like, oh, we're so much better than everyone. We have to be nice to like our special needs younger siblings. They're sweet. We like them. Like we want them to do well, but we know they were never going to beat us. So now it's like a different mentality for Packers fans. We're like, okay, we're getting our ass kicked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a lot of respect for what the Lions have done. Dan Campbell's a great coach. He is great for morale. Ooh, some fighting. Um, but I think um I think it's the media and not Lions fans, so I'm not going to hold that against them. But I mean, this matchup should be great. It should be a great game. I mean, Jared Goff has the NFL's third best QBR when he's not under pressure, but the Ravens are great at putting quarterbacks under pressure. So I really
Right.
want to see how that matchup plays out.
Yeah, my favorite linebacking core, I liked Levante David and Devin White, but they dropped the ball for me last week. They made some plays, but not enough. My favorite linebacking core in the NFL, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen in Baltimore. I think they get it done. Jadeveon Clowney on that pass rush. So let's sync up here. I'm at 59, 58, one hour right there. Where are you at?
I'm a little bit behind you.
Okay. Because you said, ooh, a fight, and I looked and there was no fight. So let's get synced up here.
I think I was like 20 seconds behind you. I don't know how. I haven't paused it or anything.
Yeah, I know. It's weird how you have to stay on top of it because it does that to me all the time.
That's super
So,
weird. It's like nothing has been paused. Yeah, they were getting scrappy after a tackle.
so 1 hour 30 right here.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you honestly. Like as much as I like to hate on the Lions and make fun of the Lions and they're a punching bag for the NFC North for so long. They never won the division, right? I think they win the division. I really do. The rest of the division is bad. The only team, I mean, Green Bay or Minnesota. It's certainly not Chicago, and I don't trust Green Bay or Minnesota to catch the Lions. The Lions
Yeah.
might come back down to earth some, but I still think they win 10 to 11 games.
Yeah, I think
So
they easily win the division.
yeah, so they should host a playoff game. That alone, the city of Detroit's going to go absolutely crazy for a home playoff game.
Good for them,
Um,
though. I mean, I think the fans deserve it. I mean, they've been
yeah,
trying. They've been
yeah.
loyal. Um, and I mean, this matchup should be good. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens here. I know the Ravens defense, they've given up, few points to wide receivers. They have a great secondary. But that Lions running back duo, or well, not duo
No
anymore.
Montgomery.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say they're both great. But I know
Yeah,
Montgomery isn't playing this week, but I mean, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is good. I know he's definitely their second, but I think he can still put up some points. And they have Sam Laporta, who we've seen in
yeah.
games where they've utilized him. He's been a great player, a great addition for them. So I think between the two of them, they should be able to get some pretty solid numbers against him here. But
Yeah, their O line. That this is where I have so much respect for the Lions. Honestly, though, is because they're built the right way. They build it through the trenches, and that's
hmm
something I wish my Bears would do is do a rebuild and build through the trenches. Um, and that's why whether it's David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, even Craig Reynolds, they have success in the running game because that O line is so nasty, right?
Yeah.
So, but my pick of the game, I'm not only going to guarantee a win here for Baltimore, I'm going to call out Roquan Smith gets an interception off of Jared Goff.
I'm writing this in my notes so I can hold this against you.
You just want to call me out when I'm wrong,
Oh
if
yeah.
I get
Yeah, we need to
wrong.
have a Lions player come on so I can throw you
Yeah, we
under the bus
do.
again.
Well, I've been trying to get Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, but they seem to be hard to get. So
Oh man. I don't know why. Like what do they have something better going on? The fuck?
I know I'm gonna have to ask Scott Mitchell here soon
Do they think they're too good for us?
or Joey Harrington.
No, that would be like a dream life interview. That would be great. But we'll
Oh, if
just,
I interviewed either of those guys, I would shit my pants. Like
yeah. If we
that
get
would
them,
be
we get
bucket
them.
list. Yeah.
I need to be more active and trying to track down people that I wanna interview. But you've gotten some great names. I've loved all the guests you've had. So we'll just, keep on trucking and see how it plays out. Just like number 88, hated my asses, trucking on my Packers in this
Oh yeah,
game.
Des Bryant doing work. Prime Des Bryant was an
Oh,
excellent wide receiver.
he was disgusting.
Yeah. Um.
The face mask.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, we've had some good guests on. Right now, I'm kind of feeling the pressure because we haven't had any on recently. We were supposed to get Lendale White, and that kind of fell through a little bit. Our last one was OJ McDuffie, but I'm determined to get one here soon. So we'll see if we can make it happen.
yeah. Well, we'll keep going, and if they want to join us for the ride, we'll take them. Speaking of joining people for the ride, we've got the 3-2 Steelers coming into LA against the 3-3 Rams. The Steelers are averaging almost 16 points per game, which is third from the bottom, which, not great. It's their second lowest mark through 5 games since Mike Tomlin came to town. So we've had a tough season for the Steelers, but they still have 3 wins. So I mean their season is not gone completely. We've got some young people on that Rams defense that have shown some promise. They had a second half shutout against the Cardinals last week, but they're pretty mediocre. So I think the matchup between a mediocre defense and a suspect offense might be a nice, fun, sloppy game for us there too.
Yeah, this is a tough game to pick. I'm interested to see which direction you go here because it might influence my pick. Just because we need to pick against each other a little bit. Who are you picking here, or where are you leaning?
So I think I'm leaning Rams, but I know they're down their top two running backs, which is always not great.
Yeah,
So they have, I mean, I know they have a good passing offense. It ranks third in the league. They have 1,600 passing yards. Cooper Kupp has been a great addition since he's come back. Puka Nacua is great, but you can't just have a passing game. Like you have to be multifaceted to win in today's NFL. And I just don't know if that passing game is going to be enough because I mean the Steelers are going to figure it out immediately. Like, okay, they're not running. We know where to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So I'm just not sure who I trust more. I think I'm gonna pick the Rams. I'm leaning towards them, so I'll just, pick them. And the Steelers offense, I mean, they've had problems gaining yards. Their red zone touchdown percentage is awful. It's the worst. It's been the worst through 5 games since 2001. They're 20% for touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know we're all into analytics and stuff these days, but 20% is garbage. Um,
Yeah.
so the easiest way for Pittsburgh to pull something off here is TJ Watt to get on Matt Stafford.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to pick the Rams and just see how it plays out because this is one of those ones that could go either way depending on which version of the team shows up.
Yeah, I'm glad that you picked the Rams because that I wanted to pick the Steelers. No Kyron Williams is a huge loss.
Mhm.
And if the Rams do become one dimensional, then you have T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith off the edges getting after Stafford. Stafford at this point in his career is kind of a sitting duck back there. Um, and so the Steelers, I agree with you, they're struggling on offense. But what's the best way to put up points if you're the Steelers? To score on defense, right?
Yeah.
So something like that could flip this game. I agree. It's a tough game to pick. It's a coin flip game, but I have never been a big fan of this Rams team. Um, and I like to root against them. So give me the Steelers. And then one of my best calls, one of my, in the drafts has been George Pickens, and he's really coming out and showing himself as a stud wide receiver. And so I look for him to have a big game. One thing that does suck though, no Pat Fryermuth for the Steelers at tight end.
Yeah, we've got one team down running backs, another team down tight end. I honestly just went for the home team because I think there's a lot of holes on both teams and a lot of weaknesses. So it's going to be one of those matchups that I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised either way.
Yeah, give me my anti Matthew Stafford bias and
Still
TJ
hating on
Watt.
the Lions, even when we're not picking the Lions game. Got it.
And a defensive touchdown is the difference. Give me the Steelers over the Rams, but uh, you could easily win that game. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, neither team is good.
Yeah,
Like they both have their strengths, but there's a lot of holes and a lot of weaknesses. So that one will play out how it plays out. But we had to have a couple different ones. So
yeah, and whoever
feeling the
wins this
pressure
game,
to pick opposite you a bit.
yeah, and whoever wins this game is going to be feeling a lot better about themselves going forward. If the Steelers win, they're 4-2 and right in the thick of it in the AFC North. If the Rams win, they get above 500 to 4-3 and feel like, hey, we're hanging with Seattle. Maybe we can be the second best team in this division, not the Seahawks, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but, but speaking of the Seahawks, they got a great opportunity to get to 4-2, a home game against a bad Cardinals team. I don't think we're going to disagree on this one.
no, definitely Seattle here too. But if I've read the updates correctly, Kyler Murray is supposed to return from the physically unable to perform list officially
He
this
is,
week.
he's
I know he's
not.
not playing. I just mean
Yeah.
for morale purposes. It'll let him start practicing for the first time since he tore his ACL.
Yep.
So maybe, the thought of him coming back will boost the team a little bit. I do think Seattle easily pulls off this win. But the Cardinals might be pretty excited about that and a little hopeful and, at least put up a bit of a fight here.
Yeah, Kyler Murray and Buda Baker. So two good pieces starting to practice. How about that halftime score? The Packers are getting beat 26-3. Are you sure the Packers win this?
I am. I mean, what sucks is that Eddie Lacy run right before the half was just completely wasted. Like it
Why?
was just
What? They,
so going into the half, Eddie Lacy runs like 40 yards and then gets pushed
yeah,
out
I
of
saw
bounds
that
as the clock hits 0. But like that's the most productive he's been all game. So at
run.
this point, watching the game live, I was like, where the fuck has that been? Like, come on. The clock is running out, and he's like, oh, I guess I'll move my legs now. Like, oh, bro.
Your defense needs to get going. You see that 332 first half yards?
Yeah. I've seen it.
Troy Aikman and Joe Buck are talking shit about your Packers right now.
Oh God, I just hate their faces. I think this was like the game that made me just despise them more than I already did. And it was always, they were always on Packers games. Always.
Yeah,
And of course they're
yeah.
on when, we're playing the Cowboys. Like, I'm sure this was like America's game of the week. So of course you get those two. But they just stuck with the Packers so much. Like every fucking game I felt it was Joe Buck's just nasally voice out to
Yeah,
haunt my
yeah.
dreams.
Try being a Bears fan and having Joe Buck calling the Bears Packers game. The Aaron Rodgers love was too
He
much.
loves Aaron Rodgers. And Troy
I
Aikman
hated it.
calling a Cowboys game. That can't be much better for us, though.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this Arizona Cardinals game. I
Yeah,
mean,
not much to say. Like Seahawks by double digits.
yeah, but I
They,
mean, I will say Dobbs is coming to the point where like he's not going to be the starter for much longer and he knows that. So maybe he's going to, try to prove himself that he's, worth being picked up by another team or worth a starting slot for somebody else cuz I mean, if he starts playing better, maybe somebody will need him.
I
So
just
I'm
think this is a
wondering.
bad. I think it's a bad game for that. I could see a Quandre Diggs or Devon Witherspoon
Mhm.
interception. Like it's a bad matchup for. Oh, Eddie Lacy, the rookie, going crazy.
Yeah,
2 runs in a row.
good for him. But
Um,
I missed
yeah,
that season.
yeah. I just think it's a bad
It was
matchup for
so good.
Arizona. Give me
Yeah.
the Seahawks easily. Maybe Josh Dobbs is all right. That's the biggest reason why I don't believe in the Cardinals though, is I don't believe in Josh Dobbs to be an NFL starter. He's a good backup. I don't think that I mean, who would you take? Uh Josh Dobbs or Gardner Minshew?
Oh, Minshew for sure. I
Yeah.
wouldn't I wouldn't take Dobbs over very many people, but
Yeah.
maybe in his head he's inflated his value and he wants to prove that he's worth, being signed by somebody else now that he knows his time as a starter is coming to an end. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it'll be successful or work out for him at all, but there's a chance that he's thinking things.
Yeah. Well, uh it'll be an interesting game. I think Seattle takes care of business though, but
Oh,
I think we're
absolutely.
gonna this is surprising. I didn't think we were going to disagree on this one, but I think we actually are going to disagree on this
Oh
one. Go ahead and
no.
set up your Packers at the Denver Broncos.
Okay, so I just want to say that in my household, married to a Broncos fan, both of my kids have decided they are also Packers fans. This evening, my daughter looks at my husband who's wearing his Denver Broncos sweatshirt and she's like, Daddy, your shirt's ugly. Go change it. And she says, Go Pack Go. The 2-year-old copies her and says, Go Pack Go. And my husband goes over to the toddler, and generally toddlers repeat everything you tell them to say. And he's like, Hey,
uh,
buddy, say Broncos country, let's ride. And he looks away from my husband, looks down at his phone, and just says, Go, Pack, go. So I think I have fully stolen the children away from ever considering the Broncos, and I am quite pleased with myself about that. So historically, we usually have something riding on this game, but also in the span of our relationship, our teams were going to Super Bowls like in 2020, 2013. That was,
Mm-hmm.
the Broncos went to that Super Bowl. I mean, the Packers, we've historically had good teams, so it was a pretty competitive matchup. This year, it's so sad. It is a very sad matchup. And I know I talk shit about the Packers, but I have picked the Packers to win this one. I said I was going to pick the Broncos just, so that way whatever happened, I would be pleased. But I can't be rooting for the Broncos to win in a house with my husband who's a Broncos fan. I can't do it.
All right. Well, at least because you were hinting towards picking the Broncos, and I was
I
like,
know.
you can't
And
pick
then I
against your
and
team.
then I remembered my husband lives here and I just no,
All right. Well, either way, we're going to disagree. So if you're going to take the Packers, I'm a Bears fan. Fuck the Packers. Give me the Denver Broncos at home.
So you're just picking against me. Got it.
Well,
I
so
mean, this game is just
this
going to be bad
game,
though. The Packers defense is so bad. Both teams are a
yeah,
mess. The Broncos running backs had just 19 yards, 15 carries and losses, or 19 carries and 15 carries in their last two losses to the Chiefs and the Jets. I mean, they have the number 3 run win block rate in the NFL, but they're not going for it ever. They're not running. Like, yeah, when you go to run, you do pretty well, but they're not running, which I don't understand.
yeah. Not This is a tough game. It's a tough pick. It's a toss-up game. I think
Mm-hmm.
the Packers are the slightly better team just because the Broncos have been playing so poorly. But they got to get it going eventually, right? And I don't know. I don't have really like the Broncos are bad, but the Packers looked bad. They should have beat the Raiders. They didn't. Jordan Love looked bad in that game. He's looked bad in 2 straight games.
He
So this
has.
is a big game for Green Bay fans to see, can Jordan Love play a better game, right?
Well, and
Uh,
here's the kicker though, is the Packers are coming back from a bye week. So you'd be like, oh, they're well rested. People have had time to recover from injuries. Somehow they're coming back from a bye week with twice as many injuries as they had going into the bye week.
wow,
I don't understand. We've got 9, 10 players who are questionable.
that's crazy.
Um, I mean, Campbell's doubtful, that's fair, but like Jair Alexander, questionable, Zane Anderson, questionable, Jenkins, Jones, Savage, Stokes, Walker, White. Like, how? How do we have more injuries after a bye week?
Yeah,
So,
I don't
depending
know.
on why and how so many of our questionable players are coming into the game, like maybe we just will have a full second string on the field. So, I gotta pick the Packers just on principle, but I think it's going to be a messy game. I think they're pretty evenly matched in their
Yeah,
shittiness.
yeah.
So, I mean, the Packers are 28th in the league in rushing yards allowed per game. They've allowed more than
Yeah.
200 yards on the ground 2 games so far. I mean, we're in a 3-game streak of being held to 3 or 4 fewer points in the first half. Like, they're just playing half of games and they're playing so poorly. And then both of the coaches are making some stupid decisions, in my opinion, but they're very self-aware about it. Like Sean Payton was like, he said a quality run game is in the team's DNA, but he needs to be patient and call games to capitalize on that. Like, well, duh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting game. It's a toss up. It's two teams that aren't playing very good football right now. Um, I didn't want to pick the Packers, and so you're saving me from that, which I like. It's good when we disagree. So give me the Broncos at home, uh, and let Russ cook a little bit, but feed Javante. Uh, Try to get that run game going. Jaleel McLaughlin, uh, Samaje Perine. They got some dudes, so run the ball, play defense. Maybe Pat Surtain gets an interception off of Love. They need something like that to break their way.
I was gonna say
Uh,
I'm scared of Surtain. I mean, Jordan
yeah,
Love has thrown 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions in his past 2 games.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
But so let's say the Packers find a way to win this. It doesn't need to be pretty. It can be ugly. You win this, you're back to 500, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're going to be talking some shit like, "Oh, the Packers might make the playoffs." So
Listen,
I
I've
don't think
said
he's one
multiple
win.
times, I have no expectations for the Packers this season. I am not getting my hopes up. I will pick each game individually, but yeah,
Yeah.
I have no hopes. I mean, if Jordan Love throws two or more interceptions in this game, he'll be the first quarterback for the Packers to do that in three straight games since Brett Favre in '05. So,
Damn.
maybe he's the next Brett Favre, just throwing picks but still winning games. I don't know.
And then let's say you can get to 500. You got two home games on deck against the Vikings and against the Rams. So who
Uh,
knows?
don't go trying
But
to make me hopeful. I don't have it in me this season.
Broncos country, let's ride. So
Oh God.
go Denver.
All those
Um,
memes and gifs of like him saying that and then a cartoon horse like running off a cliff. Yes. That is what I want this week.
any chance the Chargers, who blew a game to the Cowboys, go into Arrowhead and steal one from the Chiefs?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
The Chiefs are infinitely better than the Cowboys. There's
Yeah.
no way. I mean, five of
Yeah.
the past six games between the Chiefs and the Chargers have been decided by 6 points or fewer. Two of them went to overtime. So they do, play close, scrappy games. But all five of LA's games have been decided by 7 points or fewer. And I think the Chiefs are way better than a one score, better than the Chargers this year.
Yeah. I think it might be a competitive game. I think that, the Chargers have the ability to hang around with pretty much anybody. It's just they can't finish ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Chiefs win at home. I think that's the logical choice. But fire Brandon Staley 3 years ago. Like, at what point are the Chargers going to wake up and say, this guy is not the head coach that gives Justin Herbert the best chance to win? And on top of that, Herbert's still dealing with that thumb injury. So it's a lot working against the Chargers in this game. You got to go with the benefit of the doubt. Mahomes and Kelsey, the unstoppable duo. So that's a pretty easy one to pick.
Yeah, and I mean Herbert and the Chargers, like they do have talent on the team, but they have not looked like themselves the past couple weeks. And we saw that with the Saints game. Like, yeah, they can win games, but have they been winning recently? No. So
Yeah.
I think that streak is going to continue. I mean, the Cowboys were pressuring Herbert, and I think that the Kansas City defense is better than the Cowboys. Although the Cowboys technically have all the players, I think the Chiefs are going to be able to put up more of a fight here.
Hmm.
So I think Herbert's going to take some hits, and is it his finger or his thumb?
His thumb in it on his. I'm not
Thumb on
quite
his
sure.
right hand?
Yeah, I think it's his non-throwing hand thumb. I think.
Okay. I gotta look it up because
But
I thought it was his finger. You might be right though. I didn't write it in my notes though. But I
broken
I could have sworn it
finger,
was a finger.
something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, non-throwing hand. But I mean it still hurts.
Yeah, and he was hesitant to line up under center, so he's been doing shotgun, and he like when he falls, he tries
It's
to
his
avoid
it's his
landing
middle
on
finger.
that hand. Okay,
Middle
middle
finger on
finger.
his left hand. I just looked up where he has the splint.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I think with the
yeah,
injury and with the past few games, I mean Kansas City's defense is 12th in the league, 17 sacks. That O line for LA is struggling, so I think our boy's going to be taking some hits, and I think the Chiefs run away with this one.
yeah. If you're the Chargers, feed Austin Eckler. Like,
Hmm.
he's your only
Get the
thing
ball
really
out and don't
saving
take
him.
hits.
Yeah.
It's got to be the game plan here.
Uh.
Let's sync up. Where are you at?
All right. 123, 39, 40, 42.
I'm like a full minute ahead of you. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't understand how this happens, but
Like time functions the same way, right? No? Okay.
yeah, 123, 55.
Yeah, I'm 2 seconds back, but close enough.
All right. Sunday night football after a bad game, Sunday night football game last week, we get
Oh,
a
I'm
great one this week.
stoked. I am stoked for this matchup.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one. And this to me, after a bad loss against the Jets, This is a statement game for the Eagles. I'm all in on Philly at home, and they're healthy. They got Jalen Carter back, Darius Slay back, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard, Lane Johnson. The Eagles are healthy. They're pissed off after a bad loss. Give me the Eagles in a statement win. This one might get ugly in the favor of the Eagles.
I mean, I picked the Eagles too, but I will say, when I started my notes a couple days ago, I had like a row of question marks instead because I like really wanted to like dig into and well, Miami has been, pulling off wins, the teams they've been beating. I mean,
Hmm.
their last two wins were against the Panthers and the Giants. Um,
Yeah, yep. And they messed
yeah.
around with both of those
So,
teams.
I mean, they almost doubled their points. It was 42-21 against the Panthers and 31-16 against the Giants. Um,
Hmm.
but then if you look back the week before that, the Bills beat them by 28 points.
Yeah, I'm.
So the way they've performed this season, obviously not including the Broncos, um, they're their one good matchup with an evenly matched team, they lost. So I don't trust Miami. I know their record looks good. I know they've scored so many points this season. But I got to take the Eagles on this one. There's something suspicious going on with the
Yeah,
Broncos, but their schedule just seems too light.
yeah.
I
I
say Broncos,
am.
sorry, Dolphins. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm so distracted. Dan Bailey
Well, because
over
your team
here.
has got 19 in the third quarter. It's not
I
looking good for the
know.
Packers. Um, I'm gonna be kind of bold on this one. Give me the Eagles by 17 in
Okay.
a
I'm gonna
statement
write that
win
down
at
for you.
home.
Don't have a number on this one. Sorry, I was just trying to, the way Dan Bailey came out into the field in this one, I was trying to remember if he tried some funny business on this. I don't think so. I think it was just, yeah, just straightforward.
Yeah, if you're remembering stuff from 10 years ago, then
Well, just he came out with a smirk just now. I'm like, wait, did he do something? Was this a trick play and I just forgot about it? Because we pulled off the win, so I just blocked out all the shenanigans.
I don't know.
God, Bakhtiari was so much smaller back then. Look how svelte he is.
Little rookie guy.
Wow.
And then Monday night, 49ers at Vikings. And I know what you're thinking, or I don't know if you're thinking this, but it's like it's a big opportunity for the Vikings, but no Justin Jefferson.
Hmm.
The Niners coming off a bad loss. I see no way around it. Niners go into Minnesota and get a big win and probably another statement win. I think both of these games, Sunday and Monday night, I think they're statement wins. And I think the Vikings fall to 2-5 and are just continue to look like a bad team this year. Do you agree?
I do agree. I think while Purdy is coming off his worst professional game, and people want to, say, "Oh, we were right. He is part of the Niners' problem. He's not an asset to them." If you put a better quarterback in there, then the team would be set. I think it was just a rough game. Teams are allowed to lose every now and then. They just weren't clicking.
Yep.
I don't think the Vikings are going to be able to pull off a win at home against them. The 49ers defense is allowing an NFL low 14.5 points per game. And the Vikings, if you look at how they've been, they've won their two games, it hasn't been, smooth at all. And I just don't think I mean, it's going to be a tough game for them. Obviously, you mentioned Jefferson's out. They scored 12 offensive points, 4 yards per play last week, and they were playing the Bears.
Yeah.
So
No.
that game could have gone the other way had Fields stayed in and the Bears played a better game. But I mean, if you're scrapping in the trenches like that against the Bears, the Niners are going to make you look so bad.
Yeah, and I think they do. I think that Brock Purdy is hearing the noise and hearing the doubters, and so is Kyle Shanahan. After the media is saying, "Oh, Jim Schwartz has Kyle Shanahan's number," and they showed the 49ers flaws in that loss, and now teams are gonna try to copy what the Browns did. I think this is a statement win for the Niners. Give me the Niners I'll go with 17 again. Give me the Niners by 17, and it could easily be 20. I don't think this game is very competitive. Kirk Cousins might turn the ball over a couple times, and this thing could get out of hand.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. I think it's gonna be it's probably gonna be messy. I like the Sunday night football matchup way better than the Monday night football matchup this week.
Yeah,
The Niners haven't lost a turnover battle in 16 straight games, meaning they have less turnovers than the team they're facing. And I just there's no way that Minnesota defense is gonna be able to turn the table on that.
yeah. I mean, if this game gets out of hand, maybe we'll switch the channel and catch a World Series game. Might be one of those.